Japanese commander General Masahiro Hama moves methodically, knowing he has MacArthur cornered. For Hama and MacArthur, the war is intensely personal. Now, for one of them, it will be a first-ever defeat. The Japanese troops are well armed. To die in battle is the greatest honor. MacArthur personally shares his enemy's glorified attitude to death. After 10 weeks of siege, Hama's guns and his fanatic troops shatter all hope.
And the thunder of these guns every night and daytime too there told us that the Japanese were closing in on us and blocking us from any possible retreat. At that time, I think everyone realized that there was no way out, that we were isolated. We did hear from time to time from General MacArthur that their help was on the way. The United States Navy would come to our help and this, that, and so forth.
Promises were made to MacArthur in cablegrams from Washington, which were not capable of being ambiguous. They could only be interpreted one way. He was being told over again that help was on its way, and he sent the word to his troops in Bataan that help was on its way, because he believed it.
My heart ached as I saw my men slowly wasting away. Their clothes hung on them like rags. Their bare feet stuck out in silent protest. Their long, bedraggled hair framed gaunt, bloodless faces. They cursed the enemy, and in the same breath cursed and reviled the United States. But their eyes would light up, and they would cheer when they saw my battered and much reviled in America scrambled egg cap. They would grin, that ghastly, skeleton-like grin of the dying, as they would roar in unison. We're the battling bastards of Bataan. No Papa, no Mama, no Uncle Sam.
The Japs were too strong for us. We were too far away. We knew that it couldn't succeed. So we all felt that the end was going to come. Sid Huff, who was my best friend and another aide to the general, noticed that the general carried a .32 pistol in his hip pocket. And he commented on it, and the general said, they're never going to take Douglas MacArthur alive.
At the White House, the Corregidor drama is suddenly impressed on Roosevelt. He hears from the Philippine President Manuel Quezon. To spare his country, Quezon wants it declared independent and neutral, or he threatens to surrender it. MacArthur backs the ailing president, who has shared the long siege of Corregidor. Army Chief of Staff George Marshall also supports the neutrality plan. But Roosevelt declares, so long as the flag of the United States flies on Filipino soil, it will be defended by our own men to the death. This also means MacArthur's death.
General Marshall suggested that Mrs. MacArthur and Arthur be evacuated by submarine with President and Mrs. Quezon. As the situation was worsening by the minute, this might be the last opportunity for sure deliverance of the two human beings dearest to me. It was one of the desperate moments of my life. But even before I spoke to Jean, I knew the answer. I told the Quezons, she will stay with me to the end. We drink from the same cup.
Quezon escapes by submarine, taking with him a box full of MacArthur's medals. The general believes nothing more of him will survive. Like his fanatical enemy, MacArthur will not be taken alive.
I fully expected to be killed. I would never have surrendered. If necessary, I would have sought the end in some final charge. I would probably have been killed in a bombing raid or by artillery fire. The soldier who is called upon to offer and give his life for his country is the noblest development of mankind. The military code has come down to us from even before the age of knighthood and chivalry. The soldier is required to perform the highest act of religious teaching, sacrifice.
MacArthur is saved by the Japanese threat to Australia. Churchill, told that Australia wants to withdraw its 3 divisions from North Africa, snaps, impossible. He persuades Roosevelt to rescue MacArthur and make him Allied commander in Australia. MacArthur receives a coded message: proceed to Melbourne. On Corregidor, General Carlos Romulo shares this newest drama.
He didn't want to leave Corregidor. I saw him after the telegram from Roosevelt pacing back and forth. And then finally he called me, and he used to call me by my first name, so he said, Carlos, I have to go to Australia. This telegram says, I am ordered by the President of the United States to go. I cannot disobey him. But with a heavy heart.
If MacArthur disobeys, he faces court-martial. If he obeys, he'll be forced to abandon his men to die. He dictates his resignation, informing Washington that he'll remain as a 61-year-old private. His deputy, General Sutherland, advises him to go. MacArthur summons Buckley, the PT boat commander.
Then the next thing that happened right afterwards there, MacArthur asked me to come over again that night, which I did. He took me up in the middle of the island, Corregidor, out in the field, where no one was present, no spies or anyone else could ever hear us talking. And he said that his plans were to make a breakout and go to Australia at least, at the very latest, by the 15th of March or the Ides of March.
Buckley's own boat will take the MacArthur family out, relying on speed to elude the Japanese naval blockade.
Now, the trip coming out was rough. We had to get through the minefields. And we got through our own minefield with no problem. I knew them like the back of my hand.
So when we got through the minefield and pulled back the throttles, I was reminded of the Kentucky Derby. They're off. And win, lose, or draw, here we were. We were on our way. We went out into the China Sea.
So the way we went, and it was rougher than hell out there. It was terrible. And General MacArthur there was almost put down because of the rough seas and so forth. Later on, General MacArthur said, when we landed in Cagayan and got him safely out, he said, you've taken me out of the jaws of death, and I shall not forget.
A bomber picks him up from a remote Philippine rendezvous and flies him to northern Australia. En route to Melbourne, he hands out a scribbled bulletin stating, "The President of the United States ordered me to break through Japanese lines. I came through, and I shall return." Australia welcomes him like a savior, and his statement, "I shall return," echoes around the world.
I spoke casually enough, but the phrase, "I shall return," seemed a promise of magic to the Filipinos. It lit a flame that became a symbol, which focused the nation's indomitable will, and at whose shrine it finally attained victory, and once again found freedom. It was scraped in the sands of beaches. It was stamped on the mail. It was whispered in the cloisters of the church. It became the battle cry of a great underground swell that no Japanese bayonet could still. I shall return.